miss with a dozen roses. Such would astound you, the joy of children laughing around you. These are the makings of you. It is true, the makings of you. The righteous way to go, little one would know.
Here, the centuries of loneliness were to end.
Your collection of Leonardo da Vinci masterpieces, Mr. Flint.
They appear to have been recently painted.
On contemporary canvas with contemporary materials.
Then, age, death, the taste of dust. Do you understand?
You wanted a perfect, ultimate woman. As brilliant, as immortal as yourself. Your mate for all time.
Merkaba master, I charter demons to other worlds, drive devils to plaster, rush them to hell, breathing asthma, play Satan on gurneys next to Hermes, send them off to their journey to Cleopatra. They read those chapters, egos captured, the Leo laughter, neoplasma, run through my veins in this matrix, and my basement became a plaza, and now I'm in the Sky Lounge with negative spirit hackers, build on math and we read the chapters, observe through our windows at the quiet disasters, riots at NASA, marches, gender pride, freedom rights for the masses, till we do away with first and second citizen classes. Religion is backwards, trying to comprehend to the pastor. This gym is like Jasper. Either we all live and strive for the youth to survive, or it all ends with the rapture. Forget waiting on the man, I'm making a plan. And for the ages of false statements, I'm taking a stand. Start an investigation on Satan with a cross in my hand. Make him plead guilty, now face the jury. We're in the courts of I am. If I could just vanish from off the planet, like magic, become caught from granite. Days, mathematics is understanding.
Hey, hey, did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear. Hey, did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear.
A billion stories in the naked city. Ghost told me that his best friend needs a kidney. We froze, reminisce of Tiffany in the cold. Open whiskey from the 20s in the memory. Sympathy made the angels play a symphony. Said he could've had a scholarship. Toured different colleges, now he's out of it. Faded away slowly on dialysis. His name remained anonymous, but here's my acknowledgements. Street legends and hood guards. Kingdom fall into a mirage. Ghetto depression sets in. Then we place weed and cigars. A child has difficulties concentrating. From where he lives, he sees his promises fading. He sees his pops gone, his mom's is aging. She trying to stay strong for a church congregation. And meanwhile, a kid named Rico was the coke king. A lot of siblings of the dope fiends hope you scream. A lot of children with broken dreams, homes were clean. The most extreme, you got rich and what you sold to queens. Look what you did to Josephine. And Ebony is unheavenly. The devil's ready with open wings. As Lucifer uses love and his youthful mug. Then his blood on the cobra's fangs.
Hey, hey, did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear. Did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear.
Through the mid.
Peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of Do Not Radio. Place for now is Vaughn, your host, Knowledge Born Alive. We're here with a special guest by special request. I say special guest by special request, but I really mean like a welcome home family reunion situation. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because she's been here before, gracing her with her love, and every other time she's been here, she's been promoting just that, a journey with love, helping folks find love, helping folks find love within themselves, within their partners, and within their families, and within their purpose. So this is a beautiful opportunity to be here to hear about this global journey she's been on and that space of reformation to find that love exists everywhere. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce and present to others the number one love advocate in the fullness thereof. And welcome back here. I call her Mother Love today. Greetings, Mother Love. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm fabulous, so fabulous. Thank you for having me back on here. Glad to be here.
Definitely. So, what you been up to?
Oh, living and exploring life. As you stated, I've been traveling, so I did just get back from Africa last week. I think last week Thursday. No, it's been almost 10 days. It's been almost 2 weeks now that I've been home. Lose track of time. And so, yeah, just been traveling and evolving and growing and writing. Got lots of books ready to be released. And
Yes,
so, yeah, just being obedient to the spirit.
yes. It's a
hmm
beautiful thing. So, this love journey from whatever vantage point or levels since we last spoke, has your perspective been altered in whatever way you see fit? And what are some of the lessons learned, since the last time you were here with the journey, uh, with love dating game that you had going on and all kinds of things, right? So, kind of put it in perspective as we, go into the most recent journey.
Okay. Yeah. So the last time I was on your show was about my dating game. And since then, I have relocated. So my dynamic has shifted a little bit. I relocated from Florida to Illinois last year in April. So that kind of put a halt on the dating game for me just for a moment. And so when I moved from Orlando, I had every intention on moving back. But, sometimes our plans are just not in God's design. So I ended up staying here in Orlando in Illinois. And in the meantime, a lot of growth has taken place and a lot of healing. And honestly, I resisted that change for probably the first year that I was here. I just did not want to accept the fact that I was leaving my lovely home in Orlando and had to relocate back to my hometown, something I said that I would never, ever do. But again, we make plans and God laughs at them. So here I am back home under the care of my mom, technically, like I live with her. And so in that time and in that process, like I say, a lot of healing has occurred. So on the outside, it may look like I'm not doing much of anything. Like I've slowed completely down on doing my podcasting, the dating games, and probably anything else that I had going on. It just almost came to a complete halt. And so for a moment there, I almost felt as though I wasn't doing enough. But hindsight of this year, almost a year and a half of being back home with my mom, I can see where it was necessary to be planted here in this season. Because like I said, a lot of growth around self-worth, self-esteem. What a lot of people don't realize is that mother wound is very prevalent in probably most of our lives, in everybody's life. If you got a mama, there's probably some level of transformation that may need to take place from your upbringing. And a lot of people may overlook that wound because it's attached to the mom. And so I had the opportunity to sit in stillness and basically reflect, examine her and examine myself and see, what parts of me do I need to unlearn, to relearn, You know, not saying that she was a bad mom or anything, greatest mom ever. So, but yeah, I've just been sitting in that stillness of the relocation and have been doing the healing that I've been needing to do in order to elevate to the next highest level that God has for me. So like I said, I have written a book, which I was trying to see if I had a copy in here somewhere. I have written a book. It's called Affirmed, Speaking My Identity Through Scripture. So that I am now an author since the last time we spoke. Yay, me. And so that is available on Amazon. And the concept of that book is to help people reach transformation by activating the Christ within themselves. So that's the purpose of that book. That is my goal, is to help people attain Christ consciousness, because over the time since I last spoke to you, and as I've evolved, I've been doing a lot of studying, a lot of reading, and a lot of researching and things like that. And I've just come to a higher level of understanding. So I have an assignment to help lead people to healness and wholeness, and to bring people together. You know, that love part, that love piece is definitely still in there. So still needing to connect people, because we're stronger together than apart, all that good stuff. So yeah. Sorry. And I don't want to feel like I'm rambling, so I'll stop and let you interject.
You already know that's like a sin right there, okay? You open your mouth to speak, you speak from your heart, you speak from source, you know. Yeah, this is a part of the story. So you went from Disney World to Love Jones, right? So
pretty much.
Love Jones. So that space of redefining the path of self-discovery. Some folks would have just toughed it out. Like I said, I wasn't blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? And then they would have started to suffer and been on the other side of that descent, you know, falling fast, falling fast down that roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
But he was like, nah, I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to go back. And in the space, you're like, I don't know why I'm going back, but I'm going. So in that space, you learn why. And a word I'm going to ask about is reconciliation, right? Mm-hmm. So this Christ consciousness is in the womb of the mind. So another womb of mother, right? And we exist in the earthly womb, and we exist in a universal womb. So connecting, and you use the word wound, like wound, you know, like that. Astrologically, Chiron deals with wounds.
That's correct.
You know, past, you know, and then we're dealing with that space of reconciliation, healing, all of those things. So, what does reconciliation, healing, and recognition of a wound, and what sort of lessons have you learned from that process of from initial acknowledgement of the wound to the healing process of the wound? And how could we, in our relations coming together on whatever level it is, be better stewards in regards to that healing process? Because we all come with some sort of wound zodiacally, and then familial. And you know what I'm saying? So those inherited spaces in that regard, from your perspective.
Okay. And that was a big question for me. So I'm hoping I stay on track in my answer.
However you express yourself is a gift, okay? So
okay.
Good to go.
All right. And so as you stated, like I made the move and not really knowing why at that time. But hindsight, I can see why. And I do want to point out that as a lot of us begin to awaken to ourselves or to a higher consciousness, the thing about being on this Christ consciousness level, it's kind of like the good thing or the best thing about it is kind of like you're on this wave of life. Okay, so to be awakened to the Christ inside of you, to be in total alignment with the Most High God. It means that you get on this wave and you ride it out. So you may not understand why things are happening and when and so forth. You may not understand all the ins and outs, but just know that your steps are being ordered. Lean not to your own understanding, all that good stuff. But you do want to heal to the point to where you can jump on this wave and ride it. So that's essentially what I've been able to do there. Okay, so but a big part of that is healing. I'm a big advocate on the Bible. Okay, I'm a Bible pusher. I'm not a Bible thumper, but I am a Bible pusher. Okay, consume it day in, day out. Matthew 6:33 tells you to seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all that you desire will be added to you. And I'm probably paraphrasing. Okay, the seek ye first is actually you, is that you need to be seeking you. So you need to look inside of yourself and dig around, because somewhere in Luke, I think chapter 17, it tells you that the kingdom is on the inside of you. So you need to seek inside of you first to dig out the kingdom that's on the inside of you, because our goal is to bring our piece of heaven onto this earth. Thy kingdom come, you know, that part. And so most people, a lot of people have a problem or have struggle with looking inside of themselves. Like that mirror looking back at them can be scary. It can be intimidating. It can be a lot of things other than comfortable. So I got to a place in my life where I just really wanted something better, something different. Like I was in a place, in a space where most of us are, where I was angry, bitter, resentful, unhappy. You know, my relationships just weren't the best, friendships, job wise. It just wasn't, I just wasn't in a good space. And so I'm like, I know there has to be more to life than this. So I had the desire to want better, but that meant that I had to look inside of myself and figure out, okay, well, why is it that I am the way that I am? I had to seek me first. And so having that courage to look inside of myself, no matter how hard it was, allowed me to be able to do the transformational work. The shadow work is essentially what we're calling it today, where you look on the dark side and you stare those things down, and, you know, and you bring light to that side. But it's a spiritual process, and it's work. The same way that you have to go to the gym to keep your body in shape is the same way that you have to exercise your spirit. Your spirit, in a sense, is a muscle. It can either get stronger or it can get weaker. And most people are spiritually dead, right? Based on, you know, Adam and Eve eating from the forbidden fruit. So now most of us are spiritually dead from that act. And the goal, again, is to get back into alignment. But because of where we are in regards to, you know, our imagination is killed as we get older, because we're told to stop imagining or to go to work till death. And, you know, it's just so much trauma put on us that we do lose sight of our imagination. And that's our imagination that keeps us connected, in a sense, to the Most High, to the Creator. And so, again, to have the courage to get in there and look around and to actually do the work, it does take courage. Another part of your question, I was trying to figure out what angle do I want to go in here. Again, try not to ramble. Okay, so as I'm doing the work to seek inside of myself, to do the healing, put on the mind of Christ, also is the goal. The Bible became like a mirror for me to reflect back on me, because most of us only know the identity that the world has given us, right? When we're born into this world, I think it's Psalms 55:5 that says we were born into iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me, or did she have me? So that means that things like anger, attachment, jealousy, all those things were already here when you were born into this earth. And those are the things that shape us. So the goal of this game of life is to be set free from those iniquities. We have to be set free from the anger and the resentment and all those good things. That's where Ephesians 4:31-32 comes into place to tell you to remove all bitterness, anger, rage, harsh words, as well as any other type of evil behavior, Instead, be kind, tenderhearted, and forgiving. So you're denouncing the anger, the rage. You're speaking those things out loud, because the only way you're going to heal is if you recognize that these issues are there. That's the only way you can heal. You got to feel them and you got to recognize them so we can work on them. And so again, anger being my biggest addiction that I had, I began to speak these things over myself. But if you notice at the end of it, it says, I am not these things. Instead, I am kind. I am tenderhearted. I am, for, all these other things. So that kind of kicked off me doing these affirmations. So for me, the Bible is full of affirmations and universal laws. Okay. So I'm working on myself using the Bible, but I'm also tapping into deeper laws and deeper rules when it comes to the Bible. So now it's kind of like accelerating my healing journey. Now I have a clear genetic makeup. I have a clear makeup on what I'm supposed to look like. Okay, so now that I have a base or a foundation of how this healing needs to work and what I really am going to look like, it just opened me up to a level of healing where I reached that place of peace, that surpasses all understanding. And so I'm not on the level anymore where I'm so reactive. I'm not on the level anymore where I need validation. I did not get there overnight. Okay. Like my awakening to Christ consciousness was 3 years ago, but I still ended up in relationships that I should not have been in. I still ended up in situations where I was taken advantage of, had people stealing from me. And that's because I had not yet learned how to tap into my superpowers, discernment being one of them. Discernment is definitely a superpower. And a lot of the times we overlook that still small voice on the inside of us, either because we're seeking attention or we rather have attention from others, people pleasers, whatever it is, we tend to hone out that still small voice. So last year, actually 2024 was a year of increased discernment for me. So I had a lot of experiences that were very painful and hurtful, but had I just listened a little harder to that small, still voice, I would not have ended up in those situations. But again, that was my understanding. That was God needing to refine me. I needed to be refined so I can now step into 2025 being the year of clarity for me. So last year was a year of increased discernment. This year being the year of clarity. God needed me to hear better so that I could be clear on the direction that I'm going in. So again, just healing puts you on that wave, gets you in direct connection so you can know the purpose of your life. I know the will that God has for me. I know that all things that I desire now that I sought me first and have understood the kingdom of God is on the inside of me. I had to study to understand what it means to be righteous, i.e. that's why you had Jesus as the example to show you what it looks like as you walk in righteousness. So I just pretty much use the Bible as a tool for healing, but I also had to understand that on this journey, it's not about external obedience. Okay, that's the religious piece of this. I did not use the Bible. It was not a religious tool for me to help me understand and know what I needed to know. So I grew up in a religious household, and religion is like training wheels. Eventually, we got to get off those training wheels and step into spirituality. That is internal embodiment. That's no longer striving to be good and do good so I can make it into heaven. That's I've internalized, I'm in alignment with my Father. Me and the Father are one. So I automatically walk as royalty. I automatically operate and move in righteousness because I've internalized the Christ that God says is inside of me in 1 Colossians chapter 1, verse 27 says the whole secret is that Christ is on the inside of you, right? So we give all this reverence to John 3:16, which is good. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not perish. That's all good and dandy, but we got an assignment to do at the end of the day, and that assignment is to awaken to your divine self so that you can do greater works than what Jesus did. So that has been my healing journey. Catching that wave of Christ consciousness is like this world becomes like your playground. You know, I'm not attached to the things of the world that are bringing so many people pain, you know. So I want to stop rambling there and give you an opportunity to
If
ask
you
me a
call it
question.
rambling one more time, I'm gonna be upset. Okay, that we've grown accustomed to these soundbite snippet spaces relating. If we think we're going for too long, we start to pull ourselves out. Just be free, and what they used to say: let them use you. Okay,
Let them
let him
use
use
you.
you. I say her. Folks say
Right.
he. We know
Yeah.
he. I don't forget about her. And I'm like, let her use
Right.
you.
Right.
Won't she do it? You understand what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
yeah, there's if we're family, we come from family. If divine is our family, we come from the family of divine. So you can say
Absolutely.
father, you can say mother, you can say sister, you can
Mm.
say brother. The sons of God seen the daughters of man, and it was fair, and it was a rap. And we still sons of God out here
That's
forgetting
right.
the daughters of God, and we looking at the ways of mankind and those ways being fair. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where the giants come from. So when you start looking at these things compounding, right? It's one thing to read a story. It's another thing to be the story, right?
Right.
So
Right.
Christ looks good until you become the Christ. Then you're like, oh, why am I getting persecuted? You're like,
Hello.
what? Like, why people turning on me? Why people stealing from me? Why people lying on me? Why people acting like they was with me and then telling folks they was never with me?
Hello.
So don't go into these personages unless you're prepared to embody them. You're all of the stories, right?
Yeah.
So it was just
Thank
very
you.
interesting in regards to this space. And when you said greater works, I was thinking greater works when you said greater works, right?
Yeah.
So now where's the greater work? So if this man is supposed to be the son of God, quote unquote, and he's telling you that you can do greater works than what he did. You seen him raise the dead, walk on water, all kinds of stuff, heal the blind and the sick. That's base level. That's
That's
base
right.
level.
That's
These are
right.
base level examples of what's in man. It wasn't a spirit that was doing this thing. It was a man that walked with people who was the closest to him and the furthest from him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So,
Mhm.
all of that, all of those things that they witnessed and saw, and all of this time of studying and traveling, they was like, "Yo, fam, when we gonna see the Father?" I'm like, "Man, if you don't go sit down somewhere, you understand what I'm saying?"
Right.
He's like, "Yo, how long I been here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going up on the mountaintop to pray." He come back, they sleep. He's like, "You couldn't stand watch." I'm like, "It's a wrap." So all of these things, they sound like, "Oh, this is something," until you're going through them, and you're going through them, and it looked like there's no refuge. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? So now you got
Right.
to turn back to your family. You have to turn back to
That's right.
your creator. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
So that's manifested in a divine hierarchical manner. So it's just interesting. So my
I
whole
agree.
point with that was like if you know what you have to offer is what you have to offer. That's what you got to offer. You understand what I'm saying? So like I'm not worried about if you talking like you here to speak. You here to convey.
Okay.
You here to impart a message. You see what I'm saying? So just let the
Mhm.
message flow. I'm good. Trust me. This thing
Okay.
don't say 10 years for nothing. It don't say 4,000 episodes for nothing.
Right.
I really
Absolutely.
love when our people come and express themselves, particularly our sisters, because they don't get the voice that they need. And the voice that's provided for them are sound bites from folks who seek to portray us in evil lights.
Mhm.
So the essence of this is here. I want to talk about the book. I want to know about the writing process. I want to know all of those things. But there's two questions from assorted conversations with Ursula. So I'll put them one at a time on the screen so you
Okay.
can answer them. And then after that, we could talk about the book because I'm a bookie. I'm a bookite. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I'm
Yeah.
bookable. So I want to know all about the book process. How do you check those things that were written in your inward parts, like the Bible says, and then begin to convey them in the world, and then write them down in a palatable form as an extension of that message? So let me just put the questions up here.
Okay.
And
What that say? Hold on, let me see. That say, question for Miss Love. In your opinion, do you think shadow work only involves yourself, or can others outside of yourself help in that journey? Oh, that's a good question. Well, I mean, this is your world. You know, you're the squirrel in this world. This is your world, your nut. So, but I absolutely do believe that God's the creator, whomever sends helpers along the way on your journey, because we are definitely not meant to do this life alone. And so, I believe with each and every encounter that you have, you should be getting something or giving something out of that encounter. So if you're in a grocery store and you meet someone and they spark up a conversation and that conversation just lasted 5 minutes, there should be something that was given or taken in that dynamic. So absolutely, as spiritual beings who are all divinely connected on one level or another, you absolutely are going to have people that were meant to come across your path at this right time, at this moment, to say a particular word to you, to spark a thought or to change trajectories for you. Now, as far as people who've been in your life for a long time, like unless they've already done the work themselves and they are already walking on a path of healedness and wholeness, I don't know if it's possible for them to like help you along the way of your journey, again, unless they're actively working to do the work themselves. But if not, then I would not advise of that. What this says say, some of us may not know what the term shadow work means. In your opinion, what do you feel the definition of that term means? Okay, so when it first came to me, and this is even part of my testimony, that I was at a gathering with some women. This was during Christmas time, and we were discussing our New Year's resolutions. And I stated that I wanted to be more consistent because I had an issue with finishing things. And she told me in that moment that I had to reread the story of my life to figure out why it is that that's okay. Why is it I think it's okay not to finish things? So the way that she gave it to me was to reread the story of my life, which that light bulb went off for me. And that's what I started to do. And that's essentially what shadow work is. It's looking back over, rereading the story of your life, asking the questions, why am I so angry? Like an example for me, right? As someone who up until recently felt like I had to earn love. And so I do more than I probably should in an attempt to earn love. And so I'm with a partner, an ex-partner, and this person was extremely lazy. And I'm all prepared and geared up to tell them how lazy they are. But then it dawned on me, your parent used to tell you you were lazy all the time. And so in that moment, I said, okay, well, this then isn't for them. And that's another thing about relationships. Relationships should serve as a mirror for you. You should be able to see your flaws and maybe even, I guess, your good points too. But that in that moment, I was able to catch that, like, okay, I'm ready to call this person lazy, but I need to reflect on the fact that I've always been called lazy. And what does that mean for me? And what that meant for me is like, I was definitely overdoing it in that dynamic, overdoing it big time. And a lot of women perform in love in hopes to keep that man or to hope to convince them why they should choose them and stuff like that. And so I'm so grateful to tools like ChatGPT. ChatGPT has definitely helped me along on my healing journey. It is not to replace therapy. I don't want to say that. But for me, who's already doing the work and is very self-aware, I'm able to use ChatGPT as a form of therapy. So ChatGPT was able to give back to me, this is why being called lazy during your childhood has you overperforming as an adult. And these are practical steps that you can do to, not do that. So again, it all came down to the awareness. First, you have to be aware that these issues are inside of you, and then have the courage to address them. And so even more recently, like, I'm trying to figure out my money, right? Like, high key, I'm a billionaire, right? But my money has not manifested yet. Like, something is stopping the flow of my money. I can speak affirmations over myself about money. And I would always feel like this feeling in the pit of my stomach, as though what I'm speaking is a lie or something. And so here I go digging inside of myself, seeking me first. What is it? God, shine a light on it. What is it? And so as I'm doing the work, another revelation that another parental figure is the reason, not the direct reason, but is kind of the reason for that blockage. There's an issue that needs to be addressed between this figure and myself in order for me to be able to overcome that blockage. And a lot of issues that we run into is because the things that we may have learned come from people who we look up to and that we respect and that we honor. And so we may not want to shine a light on that thing and admit that they may have done us a disservice, or they may have done the job wrong, right? So we might just ignore that wound because we don't want to admit that that parental figure, not intentionally, they only gave us what they knew, but it still was wrong. And I noticed that to be real big in men. Men are not likely to say, my mom messed up in this area, I need to fix this, to be able to do it without resentment, though, right? Again, your parents only gave you what they were taught themselves. But as an adult, it's your responsibility to review that and even ask, why do I believe this? Is this true? How does it affect me today? Does it still serve me? Do I need to change? Like, as the adult, it's your responsibility. So it can be, the healing part can be a challenge when the womb is attached to somebody that, again, you look up to, that you respect, that has been responsible for raising you. But it's so important that you love yourself enough to know that nobody on this earth is perfect, and the information that you have gotten could be wrong. And it's important that you examine it and see, is this right or is it wrong? You have to unlearn to relearn. So I hope that answered her question.
I was smelling some Gemini energy up in there. Okay, I was smelling it, just a teens. You know what I'm saying? Like, I recognize Gemini vernacular and our tendencies, right? So when you said I had a high tendency to start a bunch of things and not complete them, I was like, is that my twin over there? You understand what I'm saying? So those socialization things that come in there, and then other aspects you name, like people pleasing and all that. So we have a predisposition based off of how we came into being, right? It's not the totality, but it's the totality that gives credence to our divine incarnation. And if you don't have that information, it's a part of you that's precluded from you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, these preset dispositions, are we going to allow them to rule us? Are we going to make situations where it's like, that's just how it is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm a Leo, well, I'm whatever you want to fill in, in regards to that situation. Oh, I'm a daughter of Shango, or I'm a child of Oya, so whatever those presets are, they're there. But when you look at the scope of what you're here to do, oftentimes what you're here to do is the opposite of your preset.
I want to touch on that too. I do want to speak on that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because you did earlier, you mentioned Chiron, which in astrological terms is a wounded healer, as you mentioned. And on my studies of the Bible, and also my spiritual leader, Brother Vane Thomas. He's big in the astrological world, teaching and studying and, you know, putting that information out there. And he's been in ministry for over 30 plus years. And so we really are coming from a space where we're shifting from what we know and what we understand. Like so much we were told was bad and demonic and witchcraft. And come to find out, a lot of that is just not true. A lot of that, it was a control mechanism. But I am going to touch on this astrological part. And I'm going to be honest, as I am growing more into my authentic space of teaching and speaking this word, I kind of teeter a little bit on touching on this astrology piece, because again, it has been given such a bad name. It's not, even though God made these stars, the Bible tells you that he placed them in order strategically, and people will still say it's demonic and it's witchcraft. And that, you know, again, it's in my awakeness and my awareness. I'm like, but we come from those stars. You know, those stars tell our story, you know what I'm saying? But in regards to Chiron in this Bible, because I've been studying the Bible a lot, and in Isaiah chapter 11, verses 6-9, where it talks about the little boy, talks about the child leading the ox and the lamb, the lion, and some other animals. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. And so those are astrological references. I don't know if anybody knows that. And there are a lot of astrological references throughout the Bible. Okay. Throughout Jeremiah, the Mazzaroth mentioned in Job, even in Genesis itself, you know. But when it comes to that passage that I just mentioned to you and my studies around that, because, you know, a lot of people will blame their behavior on their astrological sign. Well, I'm just a Gemini, so that's why I am how I am. You know, I'm a Libra, so that's why I am. And there's just a period behind that. But that's not how astrology works. For one, astrology is like a roadmap or a blueprint, but it's not your fate. It's not definitive, because again, the Bible tells you that you've been put above, you know, certain things. I got to look and see if stars are one of them. But what I do know is that when you become into alignment with the Christ consciousness, and this is from my studies off of Isaiah 11, 6 and 9, that's what that little child leading these animals is telling you, is that when you get into alignment with the Christ on the inside of you, these stars line up and are now under your authority, so that you're not enslaved to them. You are in control of them. So your weaknesses now they may not become your strengths, but you are now more in control, and you know how to use these weaknesses for your strong suit, if that makes sense. So astrology is the problem. It got its bad rap because people began to worship the stars instead of the one that created the stars. And that's ultimately where it went left at. And so I kind of do have some reserve about touching on that topic or that situation, because one thing people are going to do is people. And being that astrology is a tool, just like the Bible is a tool, astrology is also a tool, but not everybody. But a gun is also a tool. A shovel is a tool. People will take a shovel and can kill somebody with that, you know, with that same tool, right? It's the same concern, I guess, with astrology, being that I use it for my own house. If you understand what I'm saying, like, I don't want to use astrology in the sense to know what's going on in your world or my neighbor's world or anybody else. I use it in a sense to know what's going on in my world, like to know that I struggle with a particular area. Now I can speak to that mountain. I can create affirmations around that particular archetype, is what that is. When you're speaking astrology, like, these planets put different energies into your life. That's why as an Aries, you may be more aggressive. That's you. If you're aggressive, that's probably you walking on that unhealed side. And it's when you become on the healed side that you're walking in that part, you know? So it's just having that level of awareness, like, oh, okay, well, that's why I move that way that I move. Let me fix that. You don't use that to justify your behavior. You start to speak to those shortfalls, and you develop them. You know, you develop yourself. So that's the point and the purpose of astrology, is to use it for yourself, to get into alignment with who God says that you are. And a year or so ago, my spiritual leader, Brother Vane, had us create prayer wheels based off of our astrological placements. And when I tell you them things is like just so powerful, because again, like, for example, we would take Aries. My Aries is placed in my 4th and my 5th house. It's kind of teeters between both houses. And so I would take the what is the word I'm looking for? I would take what is in relation to those different energies, and I would write out a prayer based on those. Thank you, Father, for creating me like this. Thank you for giving me an analytical mind. Thank you for giving me a strong immune system. Thank you so I'm not begging and pleading, God, please heal me. I'm already proactive. Father God, thank you for creating me with an immune system that heals me. Thank you for putting me in rooms where I can use my phenomenal voice as a phenomenal communicator. So it gave me a map and an image to know who I am. And so I speak these things. I speak this prayer over myself on a regular basis. And a lot of that stuff that I wrote 2-3 years ago, I actually see coming to fruition right now. So astrology is a very, very powerful tool when used responsibly. It is not witchcraft unless you're using it to manipulate others. I guess at that point, that's when it becomes witchcraft right there. But technically, God gave that tool to us so that we can know his divine timing, so that we can be on his clock again, so we can catch that wave and ride with him. Thereby, you're not stepping into spaces that are dangerous for you, because God would have already put you into alignment. You're already riding this wave that puts you where you need to be, in a sense. Okay, so when you get to this space, like, you understand that good and bad things are going to happen. Like, I still cry, I still hurt, you know what I'm saying? But it's still just knowing that it's all still for a greater purpose, for a greater reason, or to direct you to where you actually really need to be. So I just wanted to bring around that. I appreciated you bringing up that Chiron piece. Like I say, as a spiritual leader who preaches this Bible, who speaks Christ and all of that, I have to have the courage to step into that area too, because again, God created these stars, and it is not witchcraft unless you're using it to control and manipulate others. Now I'll land right there.
Definitely a bar. Okay. Definitely a bar. So I want to talk the book process and then talk the Africa journey. So the book process, what was the spark? What was the inspiration? You know, all of those things that made the final, decision. And then what was the process like crafting it? And then the process, okay, the cake is finally done. All right, I was smelling it for a long time, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm waiting, and this is something that's a culminating piece of why these other things that you started were left undone. So when they're done, when this is done, this gets the fullness of all of these other things that you might have been called to in the moment, but not called into for a life. So there was more things that had to be done. And then looking at this finished product. So kind of, I'm looking to see what the process was so I can get, a little behind the scenes look at what you created. Okay, absolutely. And I'm really salty I don't have a book just right here that I could hold up for you. I should. If you need a second, I could play a song real quick and give you a chance to go get the book, because if you looked around twice, you definitely want to show it. So I do. So yeah, go ahead and do that for me, and I'll be right back. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I got you.
Corrupted science. Because at one time it was just the science of living and surviving here on this planet. Science of life.
knew it started, you read it in my creation. I'm God Zodiac, I'm made from consolation. My brain is a bomb waiting to blame an abomination. No change in the bomber's nation, just some more dollars placed in the pockets of Satan. While I walk amongst the blind, explaining chakras to the cavemen. I'm locking from the grave, sending doctors to the shamans. Scientists ashamed of getting knowledge from the pagans. I'm in Nirvana with militant, philosophical, diligent builders aiming for spots in a large nation. I'm in the all in all, the cream of God hopped and rise to the occasion. Surprised that we invading your time's finished, diminished. I'm live from the awakening. Cameras on tilt as I flex my success. I'm fly, look what I built. Smooth just like silk in the groove. You might wilt if your lotus ain't focused and sewn just like a quilt from the needle to the record to the lace. And my behavior resembles the high seven. You see my 2 fingers up, yelling peace to the gods. Waving bye to the haters, standing on the black dot in the center of my square. In the middle of the circle, I designed the creator. Khalifa the Khalifa when I speak through the speaker. Thoughts of a magician is lost in mysticism that reached the non-believer. I shine in your theater. Okay.
All right. So here's my book. Y'all can see that affirm. This is the copy that, you know, you get to make sure everything is well. So disregard that line there. But this is affirm, speaking my identity through scripture. Because as I mentioned earlier, on my journey through the Bible, I'm understanding that there's a bunch of affirmations in here. Affirmations and universal laws all throughout. You just got to have the eyes to see it. And so me using the Bible for affirmations is what helped me to put on my identity, to understand and see myself as God sees me. And so I wanted to provide a tool that others can use, because most people, even though I think I've heard that the Bible is the #1 book, purchased book in the world, but yet the least read, we have to get from a space where we're allowing others to spoon feed us. Okay, it's time to, like, what is it, move from the milk to the meat. It's time to, again, activate. It's time to, what Brother Vane would say, it's time to stop worshiping the Jesus outside of us and activate the Christ on the inside of us. And again, Colossians 1:28 tells you that, 1, the secret is that Christ is on the inside of you. And 2, once you realize that, you now also have to go out and spread that word. You have to now bring what I think the Bible says, present others to me in the same fashion. And so that's the purpose of this book, because what the very first passage that I chose to remember, now I'm not a holy roller, but the very first passage that I memorized was the Ephesians 4:31 and 32. When I got to the point where I said, I'm so tired of life, this cannot be my life, because I was yelling, arguing, screaming with my ex-partner. And I thought I was about to just drop dead right there at his feet. And that was enough for me to say, okay, I don't want to die, because I'm just so angry and I don't know how to control my emotions, or I don't know where to put these emotions, and I don't want to die. And so that's when I turned to the Bible, like, God, help me. I need some help. And so Ephesians 4:31, 32, very first scripture, because it tells you to remove all anger, bitterness, rage, harsh words, as well as any other type of evil behavior. Instead, be kind, tenderhearted, forgiving, as God through Christ has forgiven you. And so I would use that. Once I memorize it, I would use it every single day, multiple times a day. Anytime I feel any negative emotion rise up on the inside of me, I go to that scripture. Nope. I remove all bitterness. I remove all anger. I remove all rage. And I would just use it every day, multiple times a day. So eventually, like after about 3 weeks, I can literally I can feel my heart begin to soften to where I'm not as reactive anymore. I'm not, I can begin to, I see clearer now, I'm just not seeing red all the time. And so after memorizing that one, I'm like, okay, I'm realizing that just worked. I'm on to something. And so I would go to memorize another scripture to help me in an area that I may be struggling in. So another fave of mine is 2 Timothy 1:7, where it tells you that God did not create you with a spirit of fear and timidity, but you are created with power and with love and with a sound mind. So anytime that I felt, a little shaken, I don't know if I can do this, I go, nope, but God didn't create me like that. God did not create me with a spirit of fear and timidity. I walk in power, and I walk in love, and I walk with a sound mind. So that's what this book is. I got about 10 of those scripture-based affirmations. But also along with that, you have there's a tracker in here. So again, the goal is to save them. I don't know if y'all can see that well. The goal is to save them 3 times a day for 21 days. And so after that first week, I've got questions down there at the bottom for you to reflect on. So let me give you an example. We've got use that one. Colossians 3:15, right? The scripture-based affirmation says, the peace of God rules in my heart. I am called to live in peace and always be thankful. And then it tells you how to use it. It says, today, when anything disturbs your calm, remind yourself, I was created for peace. Let that truth guide your response. It gives you spiritual insight. I'm chosen to carry peace. It is not just what I feel, it is who I am. Thankfulness is my posture and peace is my position. So this book is going to empower you. It's going to show you your identity, and then it's going to also empower you to walk in the boldness that you know that you were designed to walk in. And then you've got journaling pages as well. So once you reflect on your questions, you come here and you journal. And each one lasts 21 days. So the book ideally should take you about 210 days to get through. And we do 21 days because studies have shown that it takes up to 21 days to change a habit. So your whole life, you've been probably talking down on yourself. Pay attention to your language and the things that you say to yourself. Like, man, I was so stupid of me. I don't know why I did that. Man, I can't never get nothing right. Man, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Like that's a big one that I hear. Like, you have to pay attention to the things that you are saying to yourself and speak something else. So it's going to take time because you've been speaking those type of words and those patterns over yourself unconsciously your whole life. And so now we're at a space where you have to be intentional. You have to do the work. It's not just going to come to you. It does take work to memorize these, get them implanted in on your heart, and then allow them to transform you. Because what you speak every day, I am so tired. I am so sick. Anything you put behind that I am is who you are. I am that I am. Right? So this book is meant to help transform your life, the way you think, the way you speak, and to get you back into alignment with who God says that you are. And these are available on Amazon right now. Hard copy, well, this paperback copy is $12.99 and a digital copy is $9.99 right now on Amazon for you. The process of writing it. Okay. So now in the age of ChatGPT, I did give ChatGPT my idea and my thought. I let her know, I shared with her my process. My ChatGPT name is Sage. We do have a relationship. That's why I refer to it as her. But, I'm like, ChatGPT, this is what I was able to do for myself. Help me create something that will help others. And so I gave it my thoughts and my ideas, and it helped me to formulate the finished product. It took, of course, several tweaking because it is just still a machine. That machine is going to take your thoughts and make them fluid, So I allowed ChatGPT to help me in that sense. Now I am starting on a second book. I'm actually uploading that to ChatGPT to Amazon. Amazon is going to do their 72-hour review, so that should be finished in a few days. But this one is going to be based on my experience in Africa, to a sense. It's actually a financial workbook, but it's geared towards the African people, if that makes sense.
Okay. So when it was done and it's out in circulation and people are reading what was in your mind, what was in your heart, and what was in your mission.
Yes.
What was that like for you? And what was some of the feedback that you got that has been memorable for you, whether it was positive, negative, whatever the case, those things are relative.
Well, in regards to the book so far, I'm still waiting on people to give me their feedback. Like I've received I know I've got some purchases out there, so maybe I need to email these folks and ask, how's it going so far? How are you liking it? But just I hope I don't sound haughty, just being the person that I am, that light, up on that hill. I get plenty of feedback from that in a sense. I know that my assignment is to continue to do the work on myself so that I vibrate on a frequency that I am in alignment just so much with the Most High that I'm shining as this bright light to give people direction or a path. You could come my direction. I'll help lead you back, to the Most High. So I haven't received tangible feedback in that sense, but I definitely see the power of the Most High and my mission coming together. And I'm grateful for the assignment. It's a lot of fun, I'm definitely grateful for the assignment. Every day I wake up, the world is my playground. So that's my feedback, walking in it.
So that's definitely dope. Okay. So I think we had the people wait long enough for the space. One thing I'll say about the book is I'll get a couple of copies from you and, do a giveaway to some of the folks that's listening. So we're going to get some real feedback. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I ain't waiting for that. You know what I'm saying? So, if you following Love, she got a new name. She didn't even tell us about it. But I'm about to ask her right now as we talk through the Africa story. This pen name, Love Evolved. Okay. So we got Love Loved. You understand what I'm saying up in there? I see you. So tell us about the name and then, tell us about this trip to the motherland, to the brotherland, to the fatherland, to the sisterland, to the world land.
Okay. So you want to know about Love Evolved, you said?
Yes, first, and then we could just roll right on into Africa.
Okay. So how the name even came about is as I embarked on the healing journey. I don't know. Hold on, my cat is like really about to get beat up here. Stop it. Y'all say hello to my baby. That's Dan. Dan the man. Say hi, Dan. Get off me. Okay. As I was doing the work to heal, and what that looked like for me is I read through the Bible in 2021, I think it was. I went through a journey of reading through the Bible chronological order. And as I'm going through the Bible, I'm asking questions and the answers are reflecting back to me. So that was the putting on the mind of Christ process. So as I'm going through this transformation, this evolution, like a lot of characters in the Bible, they get to a point where they become this new identity and they change their name, Abram to Abraham and so forth, right? So as I'm going through this process of evolution and God is revealing to me who I really am, I was sitting with my homegirl one day in her bedroom. And I'm telling her, I said, I need a brand. Like I need to brand myself. I don't know where I'm going and who I am or what I'm doing, but I really need it's time that I start branding myself. And so we were just sitting in her room thinking, and I don't know, love came up. And then I said, okay, well, I need something more to expand on that. And Love Evolved is what came about. But essentially, my mama named me Danielle, and that means God is my judge. But my father calls me by name, which is Love. So that's what I honor, who my father calls me to be. And God is love, right? And so hopefully when each of us get to that level where we're resonating at that frequency, where we're vibrating at that frequency of love, you'll too be able to identify as that. You may not go to the extreme and change your name like I did, but it's like I resonate and I feel that and identify more with that than the old person. I identify more with who God says that I am now, Love, than I do with who that broken girl once was, Danielle. The two totally different sides of the coin, two different aspects rather. So that's how Love Evolved came about. And I've had so many people tell me as they have watched me grow over the years, because I'm telling you who I am today, I'm almost embarrassed about who that girl was, for almost 4 years ago. Because when I tell you I had no compassion, I had no empathy, angry all the time, mad all the time, and you can see it. Like, ladies and gentlemen, when you're walking around with all this baggage, it shows on you. You know, you're unhealthy in the body, you're dark around the eyes, you're sick all the time, headaches, you know, all this illness running through your body. That's because you are carrying baggage that is you're not meant to be carrying. It's time to let that stuff go. But yeah, I evolved. I got to a point where I evolved from a completely broken and hurt person to who God called me to be.
I love that. Only God can judge me. Okay, so your mother knew, right? Your mother knew. Honest to your mother for that name. That name gave you a understanding of what you would walk through.
Mm-hmm.
So there are ancestral forces that cleave unto you. You have mitochondrial DNA. You have ancestral DNA. You have zodiacal DNA. This is why you incarnated in this incarnation at this particular time, that
That's right.
you were strong enough to be able to bear those burdens. So even with them coming off of you, those are those spirits and those forces being healed. So you might have seen yourself in a state where it was a fallen state or you were broken,
Mm-hmm.
but they needed that time with you so they could have the strength to endure in whatever timeline that they exist in currently, so it could
Mm-hmm.
change their dynamic. So, you know, and in your mothering phase, you know,
Right.
space and the bearer of burden of life, you were still giving life to those whom you departed to come here for this particular purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
On purpose, right? So love leaving out the system. Queen Mother Louisa T, she talks about Oshun, you know, and seeking the archetypes that were building earth, that were sent to build the earth, the gods that came here to build the earth. And they was like, what does Oshun do? We don't need her. So they sent her away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with them building, everything that they were building was crumbling because it was devoid of love now. So
Mm-hmm.
Pops come down checking the work. They like, yo, I'm saying, Pops, we doing what we doing. And he's like, where's Oshun? I don't know. Go find her and bring her here. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it was a space of, you know, when you're devoid of this love, you come to a space where you don't think you need it no more. So now you shield yourself from it and you begin to guard against that versus allowing it to be a part of your armor. You're putting your whole armor of
Right.
God on, and there's no chinks in your armor because love exposes those chinks in your armor so that you can heal them. So this broken space that you're referencing is
Mm-hmm.
the other side of the dualism, right?
Right.
So in your evolution,
Yeah.
those people that needed you in those places, in those
Right.
timelines that existed,
Mm-hmm.
are healing with you. They're growing
Right.
with you. They're learning with you. So they're accompanying you and they're looking to be better stewards now in a protective posture because both of y'all are interdependent on one another. So the cat popping up at this time, it's like, all right, my ancestors agree with what I'm talking about. So they trying to come see what's happening. So the cat comes as this multi-dimensional being, right? As the time you're talking about your evolution, right?
Right.
So now we can make peace with the name. Now we can make an understanding of what that life was and
Right.
welcome this evolution on another level. So love evolved, right? A whole
Right.
nother thing. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, that when you were talking about the names, like Jacob to Israel, you're like,
Yeah.
it's wrestling all night type of
That's
situation.
right.
Abram and Sarai to Abraham and Sarah. You know, all of these processes going.
That's
So
right.
there's a new name, right? So the name went from a person to a people. You see what I'm saying? Because
That's
you know, in
right.
English, they say a noun is a person, place, or thing. So now we know love to be a person, place, and a thing also.
That's right.
So now how you're looking at it determines how you see it.
I
So
like that.
love could be a Jones. I got it from you. I'll be listening to you. Love could be a Jones, right? Where you feel high and then that high goes down and you like, oh man, this is something else. It doesn't change. You've changed. You see what I'm saying? So how you look at it perceptually, it becomes something that you can utilize, right? So
Mhm.
this love is to be experienced, learned
Mhm.
from, and
Mhm.
then discipled. You understand what I'm
That's
saying?
right. Yeah.
So it's a beautiful space to look at it. So I just wanted to give credence because God is the judge. You know,
Right.
God is the judge. So this is who and what God is, and this is the family. God judges amongst the gods. You understand Psalm
Yeah.
82, right? So
Yeah.
these are songs that are sung in a tradition that is set exclusively for a culture of people who tap in and are from the family of divine, who lost that space of mind and that descent and looking to reclaim it. So if you could understand that process, that these are timeless wisdoms of sages from books that predated, but this canonized space isn't for everybody, but it's for everybody who can grasp that cultural representation. And it's not nuanced in a small form. It's wherever you are in that moment. If you're going through something and you flip open that book, you're gonna find the answer.
Yeah.
You look there, you look in Quran, I promise. You open that book, you're gonna find an answer. Or you can be walking down the street, you got something in your head and somebody say it out their mouth. You find your answer. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you're looking at this interconnectedness in a space where you appeared a way so you could heal it when you see it. You could
That's right.
recognize it
That's
and
right.
heal it when you see it. It could be a word, it could be a bat of the eye, it could be anything. You understand what I'm saying? And folks to be healed in that moment because that's what greater works means. You know, last thing I said real quick, and then we go into the uh, the Africa trip because I'm excited for it. In the movie The Green Mile, John Coffey, Jesus Christ, comes to Earth, or he's been on Earth walking all of this time. So because he's John Coffey and he has to go through this crucifixion, you can't tell me you done looked all these years at this book and been in this place, erected where you go and you see all these things, you don't recognize this guy and his disciples' name is Paul, who continues on his ministry. He got to live long enough because he's seen Christ face to face, and he was trying his best to not let him, go through the process that he had to go through.
Mhm.
And the proof was Paul and this little mouse. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we look at these things, right? And he was so immense in his size because he had took on all of the burdens that came along with helping people along his journey. He's like, oh, yo, I'm up out of here. I'm up out of here. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's time to give up the ghost. You understand? So he
Mhm.
knew that his time was up. So he had this man around to be a testament that existed. So if they looked at Christ as a criminal, they looked at him as a criminal. They mocked
Right.
him, they spat at him, and all of those things. And his song is "I'm in heaven." That's his song. He's like, "I'm in heaven." Like I'm not. Hey, don't don't fret for me. Type of
Yeah.
situation, right? So this immense healing. There are people that was affected by him that had life and had it more abundantly because of
Right.
his presence. So in his absence, they wouldn't have to mourn. So
That's
he was the
interesting.
last one in that discipleship. Like he become
Mhm.
his name's Paul. I'm like, Paul had to do it,
Right.
right? Paul had to do it. He like, you got to tell us what to do, Paul. Blah blah blah. He's fighting it. So just to relate it back to what the trajectory of your life was initially, and your soul's contract in regards to incarnation. You know,
Yeah.
you can change the rules. You
Yeah.
can assign a different space, and you already see the benefit and the increase from an ancestral space, backwards, present, and future. You know, so just wanted to add that real quick. And I'm gonna be quiet because I want to hear about this Africa trip, Florine.
Yeah. And I do want to back up what you just said, just to say that this level of peace, salvation, I don't know what you want to call it, alignment, is available for everybody. Like if you just desire to want something different for yourself, like what I learned most recently, where in the Bible where it says, Jesus says you are forgiven. Like there's no need to go seeking forgiveness. You don't need to beg for it, ask for it. It's just you already are. And he says, but stop sinning before something bad happens. And to sin means that you're missing the mark, right? Nobody can, to me, it's hard for somebody to tell you, to judge you as far as missing the mark goes, right? Like if you're going too far the wrong way, that's for you. You're the one that's missing the mark, going too far the wrong way. So that's what he's saying when he says, you're already forgiven. You can just turn around. There's no need to keep asking me or begging me. Just turn around and come back this way, you know? So you already are forgiven. Just quit walking that way before something bad happens. Come back this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's available. Salvation, freedom, peace. It's available. You just have to want it, to say, okay, God, I'm tired of living like this. What else you got for me? So God can say, okay, come on back home. Let me show you what you really supposed to look like, because you're conforming to this world. And I already told you don't do that. Okay. But anyway, I do have another book that I'm putting together. I'm co-authoring on this book called Prosperity with Purpose. And it'll be available on Amazon, hopefully come this weekend. But initially it was going to be Prosperity with Purpose for a New Africa. But I mean, we all need financial wisdom and growth and things like that. But so while I was in Africa, I spent 3 weeks over there. I spent 1 week in Ghana and I spent 2 weeks in Nigeria. I will be moving to Africa at some point, you know, in the near future, because that absolutely felt like home for me. Upon arrival, I felt like I was home. And so I would move to Ghana. What I noticed as far as the differences between those two countries, and I still got other countries to go to. Like I plan to go to Uganda and Kenya and Zambia. Like there's 54 countries in Africa. So I probably shouldn't just automatically say I'm going to Ghana, but that's what resonated with me the most. So like if you're still young and looking to turn up, you know, the entrepreneur who wants to reach out and do all these different things, Nigeria probably be the place for you. I'm more the small town, quiet, you know, raise your family type. So that's more so of a Ghana type feel. The energies are totally different. So I'm going to go to Ghana. But I had a fabulous time while I was there. Now, what sparked this book? First, let me tell you some of my thoughts, right? I am nobody's professional on this matter. I am only sharing my opinion, disclaimer. I have not visited all throughout the continent, but I did in that first week. I was at like this church revival. So I was amongst other people from other nations in Africa, other countries in Africa. So I got to spend 4 days with people from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and there probably was one other country in there that I can't remember, along with Ghana and Nigeria. So we're all here spending these days together. And as I'm observing the country, right, here's just some of my thoughts about the country, right? Of course, it's very beautiful, and you can definitely feel the presence of the spirit there. Like it's very heavy there because Africa are very spiritual people. So you feel the spirit there without a doubt. Africa are very religious people. So the time that I was there, I did a lot of church. I did a lot of church while I was there. Different churches, not just going to the same church. And most of them are filled with men, as opposed to here in America, most churches are filled with women. So there in Africa, most churches are filled with men over there. My opinion about that, I think that that's probably a reason why you don't see homosexuality run amok like you do here in the States. And this is no judgment towards anybody. I just do think that it shines a light on the fact that this is systemic, that there's an agenda, because you just don't see that like that over there, you know? Not to say that it doesn't exist, but you definitely do. At the rate we see it being shoved down our throats, all of that is you're not seeing that over there in Africa. So it's very much so, again, with the men in the church. So you have stronger male leaders than you do here in the States. I think that religion is crippling them, however. Now, y'all know I read and I'm preparing to teach this Bible, but religion is external obedience. Spirituality is internal embodiment. Religion can be bondage. Religion is bondage because external obedience means that you're striving to be on your best behavior so that you can attain or acquire something. And that takes one energy, and that's, I think, a form of idolization. You're idolizing this God that you think is in the sky that's gonna cast you down if you don't do something that's right. That's idolizing. So already this just not, to me, just not in the order that it needs to be in. So, and I say that the religion is crippling them because to me, they are very meek and probably borderline meek and timid, very meek and timid people. And that is enabling them. So it was a lot of stuff that annoyed me. They say sorry about everything. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, sir. Like you can drop something. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, what are you sorry for? Or they speak in a whisper. I'm always like, what? Huh? Speak up. I can't hear you. And I'm like, okay, so I know us as Americans, we're being told that we're loud and obnoxious and all of that. There seems to be an imbalance, I guess. Like they have their weaknesses and their strengths, and same as us. We have our weaknesses and strengths. Because I'm like, speak up, use your voice. Where's your boldness? Stick your chest out. Walk in the space like you command and you own this place. But again, they're just so meek and timid and like they're afraid to take up space almost. And so when it comes to that level of timidity in the spaces that I did, that I was in, it's a lot of poverty. And I still think a lot of that is tied into religion and them being so meek and timid. And yes, you're supposed to be humble, but not to the point that you're timid. So I picked up on a lot of that. And that timidness rolls over into finances based on my observation. And so with one of the people that I got to spend time with while I was there in Nigeria, we came up with a book idea because while I was even with them, we're shopping for that, like first week that we're in Ghana, we can go just about anywhere we went into. It was always, oh, that costs too much. Oh, we can't do that because in Africa, things go like this is that. And I'm like, wait a minute now. I just cannot operate from a place of lack because everything that they said, everything that they did, every way that they moved, it was from a place of lack to the point it almost drove me crazy. And so I'm like, okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. And this person is a leader too, that's leading people. And so if you're a leader with this timid mentality and it's also around finances, that means you're leading other generations and other people to have this same mentality. And so with that, a book idea was born on how to walk in power, how to walk in prosperity. So I didn't touch on the whole, it's got religion in there in regards to scripture backing up why you should move with wisdom when you're given tithe, because like the behavior that I noticed from a lot of them, they're going to give from a place that you don't even have to give. You're pouring from an empty cup. You see a lot of that because they are big on community. Like one thing they're going to do is they're going to stand together. Like if you ain't show up at church, you best believe somebody coming to check on you. If you're in need, somebody's going to come check on you. Whereas here in the States, you could be dead in your house for a whole week because ain't nobody came and checked on you. There they checking on their neighbors. You know what I'm saying? So they are very strong in that sense, but it's also to the point where they will give their very, very last, even if I don't have it. And so in this book, we're teaching people how to move from wisdom, how to, there's like different worksheets in there, how to budget your money. Over there in that country, they do things like, I know it as susu. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where the community may come together and they put money in this particular pot, and then one person gets the money at the end of the month, and they repeat that cycle to help build the community. So there's different worksheets and tools like that in the book for them, a lot of testimonies, but it's just full of wisdom and knowledge and practical tips to do a mindset shift, to embolden and encourage them to, again, walk with the power that God gave each and every one of us, and the self-discipline, that God gave each and every one of us. So this is expected to bring generational transformation to the continent of Africa. Because, it's as we are moving from this Piscean age of, again, believing in a Jesus outside of us, to the Aquarian age of understanding the Christ inside of us, that also means that systems are being broken. Okay, so whatever systems have been keeping us in bondage, it's time for those to be dismantled. And so this book will serve as a tool to help along that journey.
Definitely dope. What I learned from the continent and from the people, they know how to pretend. They know how to pretend. I have never met nobody from West Africa that cowered to anybody. But they know how to hide, though. They know how to cloak. So if they're around folks and they don't know them like that, they're going to cloak. We can get into a apologetic sort of mind state, as Black people here, the same way, for no reason, right? It's pretend, right? It's pretend.
Crazy.
You're not sorry, right?
Right.
You don't care, right? So all these things, but the outward appearance is the code switch. So the code switch is real, and the code switch, as it relates to travel, commerce, long-standing, building relationships, all of that's there. So the thing that you're looking for and looking to give them, it comes through an exposure process.
Right.
When I was with the Kenyans, and the Kenyans was like, sir, how are you, sir? I was like, don't call me sir, call me brother. Let's cut off this right now. Oh, brother. The demeanor shifted immediately, because they used to doing this little pretend, somebody come pat you on the head. You would cut their arm and their head off if they did it for real, but you're like, I gotta do that. And I said, stop smiling. You don't smile all the time. Stop smiling.
Yeah.
I was like, if what I'm telling you is wrong, then you won't get the result. I'm going to tell you the result, and when you see it, you're gonna be like, oh, brother. I was like, stop smiling and stop doing that. Just be you.
Right.
I promise you, people will reveal themselves. They say, oh, these guys, they have the plastic smile, and you smiling back at it. Once you stop smiling, watch and see what gets revealed. And he's like, oh, my brother, we were looking for you. We were talking about you. We stopped smiling, and then the ones with the plastic smiles, there was a scowl, and we saw something evil in them. I'm like, okay. All right, so I didn't say that for no reason. I wanted you to understand what it is. But if you have this outward look and you thinking like, all right, we ain't the same type of cats that know how to put a little front on. They know how to front. You understand what I'm saying? And we know how to front too. So we'll put this pretend thing on, like, oh yeah, come on in. Everything's fine. Oh, I apologize. Oh, are you okay? Can I get you something? You don't care nothing about none of that. You understand? When they're around their fam, they different people, but they in mixed multitudes and they represent their family. So there's an honor thing also on the other side. So when I said fake, I don't mean
right.
Artificial, like they fronted, but they don't want to misrepresent their family, because family honor still means something, like it still means something to us. You know, they'll
Absolutely.
give their last, we'll give our last. It just depends on who it is. You understand what I'm saying? So there are beautiful parallels in intersectionality that exists cross culturally.
I
And the
agree.
time zones is different, plane ride, all that other stuff, but it's
Yeah.
still one when you really look at it. But if you're looking for division or if you're looking for a fight, you're gonna find it. You understand what I'm saying? So they observing us and we observing them, and we've been disconnected for so long
Yeah.
that there's a disconnect. But it's literally a discussion. You know, if I had somebody from Ghana, I'm talking to them, or I got somebody from Nigeria and I'm talking to them, they standoffish until you start talking about where they're from. Then they want to know how you know where they're from. Then they want to know how you know this little language, or how you know about this, or how do you know wait, and then they want to know about your family and where they from. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying? Because they're
Right.
seeking to deduce, okay, how you got access to this information.
Right.
So now after that, brother, So now that little quiet guy or girl that was in the corner, different.
Right.
Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia. Once you know certain little nuances, it's really like an exposure process. So they might be churchy in that church space, but I promise you, in the nighttime, there's something different going on. You understand? So if you don't know it, you might go in there with that space like, oh, all right. So it's a beautiful evolution, right? Going
Yeah.
back into what it is and who we are. So I really
I agree.
love the fact that you have the mindset of wanting to be of value
Yeah.
versus wanting to be a capitalist. You know, because the rest of the world is coming in there with their pistol and their ski mask, looking to pillage, because that's all they do.
Right. Right.
So, you know, they gotta vet you in their own way. So it's a different thing.
Okay.
So
That makes
that,
sense.
that becomes a process. But I love the fact that you were there, speaking to them in a manner of love. Like, yo, speak up. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't gonna have to keep telling them. Next time you see them, it's gonna be, you're gonna be like, yo, I didn't know you was loud. You understand what I'm saying? So all those things become something different, you know, based
Yeah.
upon relationships. You know, the real
Right.
people, they
Right.
show up
That's
when
right.
they have a level of comfort and a level of trust, because they deal with touristy, churchy, you know, scammers all the time. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, all right. So they just have to fill people out.
Okay.
They got to fill people out.
Makes sense.
Colonialism is a mindset, and neo-colonialism is another mindset, which is a byproduct of capitalism around the world.
Okay.
So the socialites are something different. And communalism is a whole nother thing, and that's not something that they are taught. That's something that they live. You know, so it's just it's a work in progress in regards to how they're shaping and molding. They're the oldest civilization on the planet, but as far as this industrialization and all these other things, they're all fairly new in regards to
Right.
a space of independence versus interdependence on bloodsuckers. So we're looking at less than 70 years for all of the countries that are on the continent that gave everything to the world, and still is responsible for 80% of the world's resources.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was me yapping about that right there. So,
I was having a conversation with a friend. Because, you know, in my opinion, I think all Black people should just pack up and move to Africa. Let me tell it. Like how we used to think it was a diss when white people used to tell us, you niggas need to go back to Africa. It was such a diss then, but it's so true now. Because I want to tell you, right? Like in the 3 weeks that I was there, I ate mostly off the land. And so I got into like really great shape. It was not like I was in bad shape before, but I got like really healthy. And within 3 days of making it back here to the States and eating the food here, I immediately felt it in my body. I felt it in my kidneys. I felt it in my joints. My hands hurt right now to this minute. headaches. Like I could literally feel our food is killing us. Like not even, matter of fact, it ain't even food. I don't even think it's food that they giving us. It has no sustenance to it. So that was like a big reason why I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely moving to Africa, because for me to come back here to the States and almost immediately feel the pain in my body return after getting back on the diet, that is the food that is here. So I think if you have that pull or that desire to some point go to Africa, that's probably where you belong. Because you got a lot of people that says, no, this is my land. I ain't from Africa. This is where I'm from right here. I want my reparations and I'll just die here until I get them. Okay, then that's cool too. But like if it really resonates in you, I think that it's wise that we take our resources and our knowledge that we've acquired here and take it to Africa. Like that's what makes sense to me, because like you just said, they're steady draining that land of all of their resources and bringing it here. But like we're so much stronger in numbers. If we quit trying to wait for them to give us what we think belongs to us over here and go back to what's rightfully ours, or where we rightfully came from, we can really develop ourselves to the point that we are back in our rightful places. Because as melanated people, we're at the bottom, and that's not how that's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna do my part that I can to help elevate us and uplift us as a people, especially understanding that Africa is the base, the foundation of where we are from and where we should be. So, but I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity, though, to spend time with you and to express my evolution and my time spent in Africa. And I hope that we will be able to do this again.
Most definitely. So, final thoughts, shout outs. Again, tell people where to get the book or the books. You know what I'm saying? It's weekend. It's about to be, one of them other monumental spaces. So, final thoughts, final words, final call to action for the books. And, this is your home, so it's welcome home.
Yeah. Well, I'll be doing speaking engagements soon. So I've been doing a lot of traveling, and it's just really hasn't had much purpose. Well, maybe it has, but now I'm like, okay, I need a greater purpose to my travels. So speaking engagements to come. And if you are interested already, just based off of our discussion today and booking me for any engagements, I am available, and you can send me an email to journeywithlove80@gmail.com. Again, my book, Affirmed, Speaking My Identity Through Scripture, is a book to serve as a mirror to help you see yourself as God originally designed you to be. So to help you get out of the iniquity that you were shaped in, and get out of that anger and that fear and jealousy, all of that. And I have basically taken the meat and potatoes out of the main book, the Bible, and put them in one spot for you and made it digestible so that you can begin your transformation process. And I also wanted to say that I know that there's a lot of people that, again, are awakening. They're going through this spiritual awakening. And for me, when it first happened, I swear I thought I was going crazy. Like I could have literally had checked myself into a mental facility. And there's still some days where I question. But without a shadow of a doubt, God always shows up in a way that lets me know that, that he is he, it, she, whatever you want to call that thing that is creator of all things. I don't think it really even cares. Just get back into alignment with that. Like you don't have to dig your own well when there's a whole ocean right here ready to fill you up and to give you all that you need. Stop trying to dig your own well. Just go back. Stop going that way and go that way. Dig inside of yourself and free that little girl or that little boy in you that's just in there probably scared and, wishing you do something different to free them. Look inside of yourself and dig that little person out, because they hold the kingdom. Okay. That's within you. Y'all can follow me on Facebook. I'm Love Billups pretty much everywhere. Love Billups on Facebook. I'm lying because Facebook is the only place that I'm Love Billups. But you can find me on Instagram, Journey with Love. I am on Clubhouse. We'll be doing Clubhouse rooms 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So y'all can find me there as we journey with love. And Snapchat, y'all follow me on Snapchat as well. They get the raw and unfiltered version of me on Snapchat. So that's Journey with WIT Love, Journey with Love. And yeah, I just want to thank and welcome everybody that's ready to go higher, because this is the season, like we're about to take off like some rockets. So if you're going up with me, I want to welcome you, because again, it's all about evolving, and it's all about transformation. It's all about getting in alignment. And so once you get to that space, life just becomes better. It's not completely, it's not pain free, but it is better. So y'all rock with me. Catch me at some of these speaking engagements. Tell me what city you're in, and I can pop up in that city, and we'll kick something off as far as again getting me exposed and on these stages to help lead people back to the Creator, the Most High.
So she's bookable, okay?
I am.
Okay, bookable, all right? Love, thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy.
Certainly.
Thank you for your jewels. Thank you for your mothership and your mother shift, out here with the tutelage and being in that space of love, for going through this process of birth, death, and resurrection so that we could have life and have it more abundantly.
Right.
That Christ consciousness, that eye-opening experience and life-changing space. So honest to you, honest to your family, honest to your mother, and honest to those sacred warrior healers that exist out there. Your teacher, blessings to him and blessings to the group that got y'all together and the work that y'all are doing. It's tireless sometimes, and it feel like I don't even know what's going on, but it's work for the people who will find it, and it's immortalized and it's eternal. So anytime in life, the people who canonized the Bible, that was thousands of years ago, they didn't know, it was going to be, the junk that everybody was going to find and flock to. They just was doing their job in that time. So when you do it in the time, like Christ said, his time ain't for now. My people is for in the future. You see what I'm saying? The cats he was rolling with was sleeping while he was praying. You understand what I'm saying? They seen him raise the dead. I'm like, man. Like, so, again, when we create for all time. So now we're mindful and intentional about what we create and what message we put out to the world. Because once it's out there forever,
That's right.
And in that essence, we aren't the heroes of the story. The people are the people who find it, and they glean from it. And even if they got the faith of a mustard seed, it's enough for them to be able to change their life and it becomes transformational. So maybe they'll call your name. If they say love, they're calling your name. So you never go. You're eternal. You're here forever. And wherever you are, they can always call your name.
And I don't know if I said that, because I started off saying that with us all awakening, a lot of people going through their awakening, and the fact you can get to this, there's a very fine line between spirituality and psychosis. That's where I was wanting to go to. So if you need any level of support in that area, feel free to connect me and reach out to me. I really, me and my spiritual leader, Brother Vane, like he's the one with the whole suitcase of all these different spiritual practices when it comes to, Vajrayana, different meditation tools, and like he really gets it in. But like the level of crazy that I was experiencing, had I not had the foundation of Christ, like I could see why people end up in mental institutes or why they end up, killing themselves or things like that, because it is definitely a space you have to be ready for. And I guess that's a reason why not many people, why that path is very, very narrow in a sense, because not everybody has the heart posture to be able to deal with that level of openness and awareness, if you may. So again, if you're struggling in that space of coming into knowingness, coming into consciousness, waking up, I'm here to support you. Feel free to send me a message on here on Facebook Messenger, Or again, my email, journeywithlove80@gmail.com.
So thank you for your time. Thank you for your love again.
Thank
We up
you.
out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's bookable. Okay. Make sure you book her. She's bookable.
Yes.
You understand? So if you need some love in your life,
I got you.
Journey
Love
with
here.
Love. You understand what I'm saying? So we out, y'all. Peace.
Peace, peace.
Yeah. Yo, life's a so